Welcome to Rate Mapping Training. Our new rate mapping tool, which was released in version 8.17, allows our clients to map their rates directly to their GDS channels within RoomKey instead of having to send the rate mapping information to support and having our team do it here at the office. It allows our clients to have complete control over their rate mapping. The first step to access this is to contact RoomKey directly and inquire about having it activated for each of their properties. So once it is activated, you're able to grant access to individual clerk IDs through our clerks module. And that's the first step to accessing this tool. You want to ensure you go to our system configuration menu and select clerks, and then select the clerks that you want to grant access to our rate mapping table. Under permissions, in the right-hand column, you want to expand the system configuration menu, and you'll see permission 2110 GDS Linking Tables just at the bottom there. You want to give that permission and post it, and you'll see that it's been transferred over to the left-hand or the given permissions column right here. So that's permission 2110 under System Configuration Menu Options in the Clerks module. So once this clerk has access to it, they'll be able to see the GDS Rate Linking tool under a System Configuration menu right here, GDS Linking. Now the first thing we'll want to do if you've never mapped rates prior to this is to ensure that all of your room types are connected in the Room Types module here. And what this does is it connects your RoomKey room types to the corresponding room type in your GDS channel. Now the first step to doing this is ensuring we have all of our GDS room codes. We have been using a tool, our rate linking request forms, and I would advise continuing to use these at your property level because it is very useful for keeping track of all of the information you'll need to map a rate. So for instance, in this example, we have all of our RoomKey room type codes, and I've listed all of the room types for this property we're using as an example. And over here, we also have the corresponding GDS room type names and room type codes. If you're unsure of where to get these, you want to contact your GDS channel provider, and they'll be able to assist you with obtaining this information. So for this example, we'll use the Ocean Suite, which we have here, and we can see that the GDS room type code is OSK. So once we're in RoomKey and we want to add that room type, we go into the GDS room types table and click Add. And from this drop-down menu, we select the room type that we'll want to map. So we'll select the Ocean Suite, and then here we select the GDS type. In this example, we're using SiteMinder. If you do have more than one GDS channel, you will have additional options here. For instance, if I also had an Expedia Direct Connect channel in addition to my SiteMinder one, it would say Expedia here as well. And I would have to map this room type for both channels. So I'd have to map it twice, once for SiteMinder and once for Expedia if I wanted it to be available on both channels. So here we'll just select SiteMinder, and we'll enter the GDS room code that we had on this form, OSK, in that box, and click Post. And now this provides us with the Ocean Suite RoomKey room type as an option to map. And we'll continue to map the rest of the room types. I would advise, even if you have a special room type, for instance, say a presidential suite, that you don't want to allow access to your GDS channels to, I'd still advise mapping it here in the event that a guest who's booked through a GDS channel wants to upgrade. You still want to have that room type available at the property level. It doesn't mean you have to map a rate to it. You can always leave that area blank, which we'll explore later in this video. But I would advise mapping all of your available physical room types in this section just to ensure an ease of use in the system later on. So we'll continue on with our rate mapping. We have our Ocean Villa room type. with the GDS code OVKK. So we'll add that room type here. And again for SiteMinder. And we'll put in OVKK right here and click Post. And we'll see it appear up here. And we'll add our final room type, our one-bedroom suite. OBSKK is a GDS room type. So click Add, one-bedroom suite. Under the SiteMinder channel, OBSKK. And in this field here, you want to ensure that you don't have any additional spaces or punctuation if it isn't included in the GDS room code. If we do even add an additional space, it can affect how rates are uploaded to your GDS channel or how reservations that are made in the channel are able to flow through into RoomKey. So we want to ensure that this information is as accurate as possible. So here we'll click Post, and we'll see it appear up here again. Now in this section, the room types do need to be at a 1-to-1 ratio. For instance, we have our Deluxe Ocean Suite here in SiteMinder. It's the GDS room code DOSK. It will not allow me to add another GDS room code for the same channel for the same room type. So if I try to click Add and select the Deluxe Ocean Suite room type for SiteMinder and just put in a different code, let's just say we want to use the code Deluxe, and click Post, it's going to give me an error message that says that this GDS room type is already existing. So it will not permit us to try to post two different GDS room codes to the same RoomKey room type for the same channel. So now that we have all of our room types set up here, we can close this window, and I'll show you under the GDS linking rate plans, it will now show you all of the different rates you have for each of the different room types. So this is where we will eventually end up mapping our rates. But first we need to decide which rate we're going to map. So close that window. And if we go back to our rate linking form, we'll see that here the RoomKey rate name that we're going to map is Best Available Rate. So we need to get a little bit more information from RoomKey before we're able to map. We'll need to use the RoomKey client type in our mapping, as well as the corporate name and the GDS segment channel. The other really important information we need is the GDS rate plan code. Now this code is created in your GDS channel. So you'll need to go into whether it's SiteMinder or Expedia Direct Connect or Synexus to find out what this is. If you're unsure, you'll want to contact your GDS provider if you have an account manager there, and they'll be able to assist you in locating that. So in this example, we'll map the RoomKey Best Available Rate from the Rate Wizard. So we go into System Configuration and open our Rate Wizard. We'll locate that rate here. We can confirm that it does have a rate for the GDS channel, which is what we want. And if we click the Edit button here, once we've selected that rate, it'll show us what the client type is for that channel. And here we have Corporate and GDS Booking. Now we can only map one client type. In this instance, because it is going to be for our GDS, we know the GDS Booking is correct. If you're unsure, you can always contact RoomKey support and they'll be able to offer you assistance. So we want to ensure we put GDS Booking in our client type here. So we'll ensure that is correct, GDS Booking. And again, accuracy is key. So we need to ensure that all of this information is exact. Otherwise, the rate may not flow through or reservations may not flow through in the system and create issues later on. So we've made sure we've recorded the client type for that rate. And then in the same window, if we select the corporate type, we can see that the corporate type selected under the GDS channel is Expedia. So make sure we record that. Now, if there isn't a corporate type, that's okay. Doesn't necessarily have to have one. We can just put not available if there isn't one, or we can put in Expedia as we saw it was recorded in Rate Wizard. Now, if you do have any questions about this, do feel free to refer to the manual or speak to support. Generally, it's very straightforward getting the information from RoomKey because it's already been created when you built the rate. Now, the next bit of information we have here is the GDS segment or channel code. Now, only some GDS channels like SiteMinder have this. If you're unsure of what it is, you'll want to contact them. SiteMinder specifically, as we're using as an example in this case, does have it. So we'd want to ensure that we've got the correct information here. And again, you would get that from your GDS provider. And the last column, upload rate, yes or no. With RoomKey, you have the option to upload the rate and the availability to your GDS channel from RoomKey. So we would send up not just what rooms you have available for what dates, but the rates themselves. Sometimes people prefer just to send up the availability and control the rate through the GDS channel. If we chose to do that, we would put no here. But if we want to upload both the rate and availability, we would put yes. And that's what we want to do in this situation. So I've just put a Y for yes in here. So we'll just confirm that we have all of the information we need. As I mentioned, very important that we get the GDS rate plan code. So you'll get that from your provider. And we know what rate we're mapping. The last step I want to check before we go to map the rate is to ensure that the rate itself has a dollar amount attached to it. So we'll select the rate, the best available rate, and click Next, just to ensure that there is a dollar amount already built. So we want to make sure we're looking at the right channel, GDS, and I can see for the Ocean Suite, we do have dollar amounts loaded here. Even if you're only sending up the availability, you need to ensure that there is at least a dollar amount in here in order for the availability to be uploaded, even if you're controlling the rate directly through your GDS channel. If there isn't a dollar amount here, it won't upload the availability. So we'll just check for the different room types that we do have rates loaded. So we know also what to expect when all of our GDS channel rates get updated. We know there is a dollar amount in here that's being loaded. So once we've checked that, we are ready to start rate mapping. So we go to System Configuration and go down to GDS Linking. We want to select Rate Plans. And this is going to bring up our GDS Rate Linking Table. I'm just going to expand this window so you can see a bit more of the information here. Then we have the option of selecting the GDS type. In this case, we only have the one set up for this property, SiteMinder. But if we did have more than one, it would give us several different options here, and we could switch between the different channels. Now, if you're mapping the same rate from RoomKey to different channels, you need to ensure that you are doing it individually for each GDS type. So select SiteMinder here. We also have these two other filters, the room type filter and the rate name filter. Now we can use one or the other, but not both together. For instance, if I deselect, select all, I can then go in and select best available rate as my rate filter, and it will bring up all of my room types that have the best available rate set up. And if I select RoomKey rate name, it's going to organize all of these by the rate name. So it keeps it nice and tidy for us. So here's the best available rate for the GDS channel. This is what I want to be mapping right now. We can see we have it available for all 4 of this property's room types. So we want to ensure, number 1, that we are mapping the correct rate. Number 2, we'll go back to our form here and ensure we have the GDS rate plan code. So we know it is BAR. So we go back to our rate linking table. Under this GDS rate code column, we want to ensure that we're putting in BAR here. And much like the room type codes, we want to ensure that we're not adding any additional spaces or punctuation where there shouldn't be, because any inaccuracies like that will prevent the rates from loading properly. So we've entered that here. our next step is to go to the client type and ensure we enter that information. And as we can see in our form here, the client type should be GDS booking. So under our drop-down menu, we can select GDS booking for each of these room types. And the next step would be the RoomKey corporate name. And here we have it as Expedia. So from the drop-down menu, we should be able to select Expedia. Now I notice it's not available here. So it's possible that we don't have the corporate rate set up yet for the correct room type and for the correct client type as well. So it will be something we'll need to look at. For now, I will leave this blank, but we can look at this as an option for changing that. Because in order for the rate itself to flow through correctly, this does have to be accurate. So what we'll have to do is remove that corporate type for now. And we can either contact RoomKey support to help us figure out where we need to attach this corporate type to the rate, or where we need to make any adjustments so it shows up here. So we'll show you how to do that once we finish this rate mapping. And then under the segment channel code, it would be Expedia. That's what we got from our GDS provider. So we'll ensure that we put Expedia as segment channel code here. So from this drop-down menu, we can scroll down to Expedia and select it there. We've got a lot of options in this column. So you want to ensure that we're very carefully selecting the correct one. So now that we've entered it for all 4 of those room types, to ensure the other information is correct. Now, if we were just wanting the availability to be loaded up instead of the availability and the rate, we would uncheck these boxes here. And as you can see, it highlights them in green. And we can see from the legend down here that the rate is derived from RoomKey, but not uploaded. So when we see that something is green, we know it is just the availability that is being pushed up to your GDS channel. Then we will check those back off again because we do want the rates to be uploaded as well. Now, if we did see a rate that was red, highlighted red, just as that one was highlighted in green, we would know that that rate was made inactive in RoomKey. So you'll still see it here, but it'll be red and it won't allow you to map it. So once we're sure that all this information is correct, we'll just hit post. And it's going to give us a message that our rates were successfully updated. So I'll just click OK. Now, we're next going to look at this corporate rate. And because it has to be exactly what is set up in the rate, in Rate Wizard, for the rates to flow through, we're going to go into this rate and make that change. So under Corporate, I'm going to uncheck Expedia and click Update. Now, if I needed this to be attached and it wasn't showing up, there can be a number of reasons. I would suggest contacting RoomKey support directly to inquire about why it might not be working. And we will also have a troubleshooting guide for you to look at. You can also refer to our Rate Wizard troubleshooting guide if you're having difficulty attaching a corporate account to a specific rate as well. And we have all of those on our website, roomkeypms.com/support. You'll find all of our manuals there as well. So now that we have mapped that one rate, we can just go in and double check that it's in there under GDS Linking or Rate Plans. And I'll just expand this window. But we can see here we've got that rate mapped for every room type in a GDS channel the GDS rate code, booking, and the segment channel code. And now that we've done that, we've mapped the rate, and we're done. If you have any questions, you're welcome to refer to our support page, our training guide that accompanies this video for rate mapping, or you can contact RoomKey support directly, and they'd be happy to assist you. Thank you very much.